Hello. Hi everyone, happy Sunday. Just wait for a few people to log on. Alrighty. Happy Sunday everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the cooler weather that was today, although it ended up being really nice and sunny today, which was good. Didn't start out that way. It was very cold, very windy, and if you're here in South Australia, it was a very shaky start to our Sunday morning, so I hope there was no damage done with the earthquake, and I hope everyone's good. Let me know in the comments what you got up to. Let me know if you felt the earth move this morning in whatever way that happened for you. As always, tonight we will do a self-care Sunday draw at the end. At the moment there is only one person in that, so that closes at 7 p.m. so there's only one person in that draw tonight, but that's okay. We'll have a quick chat about that at the end. I really hope that some of you, even if you didn't post it in the group, I really hope that you got a chance to have a good stretch and do a bit of yoga or a bit of breathing for yourself today. If you didn't, maybe try and get a quick stretch in before you go to bed. When I started really heavily lifting weights nearly 2 years ago, one thing my trainer used to get me to do was to have a 20 to 30 minute yoga session and a hot shower right before bed. And this was actually a game changer for me, guys. So not only did that help stretch my muscles out and help with my muscle recovery, but it also helped me sleep better. So that's just my little tip there on a bit of yoga and a hot shower before bed. If anybody needs some help in either of those areas, muscle recovery or sleep, it's definitely a really good half an hour, 40-minute bedtime routine to have. Okay, so tonight, I know that there's lots of you on here already, and I know that many of you are tuning in especially tonight, because tonight kicks off our menopause week. So why a whole week? Well, menopause is complicated. Menopause is a huge topic, and there's so much to talk about, and I do not want to cram it all into one night for you, because that is not going to be digestible. It's going to be too much information all at once. So I'm going to break down my key points. We're going to go through the most important thing to start with tonight, and then throughout the week we will have little discussions and tips for managing things as we go. Tonight we're going to explore what happens to our body in menopause and why. And on next Sunday I'll go a little bit more in depth as to what you can do about weight changes and managing your weight, and what happens and why you put on weight in menopause, and we'll talk about some different strategies to do with your weight next week. But tonight we're going to focus on why your weight changes and why your body starts acting differently in menopause, because I think for most of you it's going to be surprising. Some of you may know it already, but I'm guessing that many don't, because when I heard it, it certainly wasn't something that I'd ever considered. So I hope you learn a bit tonight, and the whole week, guys, tune in. I'll put a post up every night during the week. You should be able to learn something as we go along, and next week we'll get into will be part 2, and we'll get into the food and whatever that can help next week. So settle in, let me know in the comments that you're here. As always, it is #live if you are watching live, #replay if you are watching this at a later point. I can see lots of people on. I can see Karen's on. Hi Karen. I can see Kathy. I can see Linda. I can see Rachel. Kylie Ferguson's on. I can see Franca, I can see Yvonne. There's so many of you watching. Hi, Jenna. Alrighty, here we go. So before we begin, I do need to preface our talk tonight with a little reminder that I am not a doctor. I am not a medical professional. And if at any point during these conversations you feel like you want to know more on a more personal level or a more medical level, then I do strongly recommend that you go and see your medical professional. That's what they are there for. All right, especially around this topic. If you've got a lot of issues around this, I can only give you what I've been trained to know, but I am not a general practitioner. I'm not a gynecologist or anything like that. So I need to preface this chat and this week with that statement. All right, menopause. Here we go. The meaning behind the word menopause is literally to pause the month. So in the Greek root word for month is meno, and pause is pause. Kind of self-explanatory, yeah? So it is the term used to describe the fact that the monthly cycle of a woman has stopped, and you are considered to be in menopause when you have not had a period for 12 months. Yep, a whole 12 months. So if you go 9 months without a period, you are not technically considered in menopause. So you might be perimenopause, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you actually are not considered to be in full menopause until you have gone 12 months without a period. So menopause is effective on the 12-month anniversary of your last period. The time before that is called perimenopause. Some people call it premenopause, but the common term is perimenopause in the medical industry. It is interesting to note that not all women actually go through perimenopause. Some women do go straight into menopause. And they don't have to go through that pre-stuff. And normally it takes about 4 years on average for perimenopause. So some people can go through that for an average of 4 years before they actually stop having periods. So during perimenopause, we will look quickly at perimenopause first, because I know in the poll that I did earlier in the week, there are a lot of you that identified that you were approaching it, or maybe that you are not quite close to it yet. So perimenopause would be something you guys might need to pay attention to. So in perimenopause, you will still be having periods, but they may be irregular, they may be lighter, they can be heavier, or just really different. And your cycles may start to slow down. So you may have longer time between your periods. In perimenopause, your ovaries start producing less hormones, the most significant of which is estrogen. The levels start decreasing in our bodies, and this is actually the biggest contributor to weight gain and body fat increase, as we will get into that later. So something to remember there. As your ovaries produce less estrogen during this time, it actually throws the hormonal balance off, because your ovaries are also still producing progesterone. Okay, and the balance between estrogen and progesterone is actually really, really important. So when this balance gets thrown out, we start to feel a little bit funny. We get the hot flashes, we get tired, grumpy, moody, lethargic. Yeah, give me a holler, girls, if you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I hope you don't mind. I am actually peeking down. I've got my dot points here because this is such a intricate topic. I have put all my notes on a Word document, so I am going to be peeking down just to make sure I do not miss anything for you guys tonight. It's really important that I don't forget something. You know what I'm like. I do like to go off on a tangent, so please forgive me by looking down at my notes. But give me a thumbs up or something below if any of that sounds familiar to you as well. Those hot flashes and the moodiness, we all know what that's like. So as I said before, when we are in menopause, we haven't had a period for 12 months. At that point, our ovaries have stopped releasing eggs and we are no longer able to reproduce. So witches have babies. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing for you. Let me know in the comments. It kind of sounds a little bit luxurious to me at the moment to know that I definitely can't fall pregnant again, but everybody's different. So this is a time for many women when your bodies really do start to change in terms of your weight and your body fat. And most commonly, women find that they put on more body fat during this time. They put on more weight, even though you've done nothing different. You're not eating more, you're not eating worse foods, you're not eating above your calories, you're probably not even exercising less. But no matter what you do, the body weight, the body fat just creeps on. Also, it is at this point that you will find it harder to lose that body fat. So perhaps before you might have been able to cut your calories to sort of 1700 a day. a bit like our challenge participants at the moment. You could probably increase your walking and you would have your weight under control in no time. You'd lose a few kilos, you'd be back on track. Okay, so that's generally what happens when we're younger. We rein in our calories, we exercise more, generally the weight falls off. But you hit menopause or even perimenopause for some people, and this just no longer works, okay? It might start to feel like nothing is working to shift the weight. Nothing is working to stop the weight creeping on, and it all feels useless. Give me a thumbs up, guys, below if you have ever felt that it's absolutely useless. I know that there are lots of you watching who have been to their doctors about menopause as well, and the doctors just said it's a part of life, you've just got to deal with it. Give me a holler, guys, if that's you. But the question I want to ask you is, why is this the case? Do you know? Do you know why your body puts on weight or it's harder to lose it? I'm going to let you know what it is, but I wonder if anybody actually knows in this group. It is often at this point that women give up and say, it's just menopause, there's nothing I can do about it. Some doctors will even say this to their patients and just tell them to get over it. They will tell them to eat less and move more for the rest of their life. They will say, it's just menopause, your body's changing, everybody's different, nothing you can do about it. Well, ladies, I'm going to call bullshit on that one too. I'm sorry. And you'll find out why in a minute. The fact of the matter is you just don't know yet. You just haven't been educated yet on why your body is making those changes. And when you know the why, you can change the what, and you can change the whole outcome. So, don't get me wrong, everybody's different, and just like before menopause, where there are some people for whom traditional weight loss methods do not work, there will be those people in menopause for whom these things don't work as well. It just comes down to their body composition. Life's unfair. Some people will not put on weight in menopause. Some people will have to work 10 times harder than everybody else to maintain or to lose weight. I'm sorry, ladies, there is nothing anybody can do about that. That's just the way it is. So you know what your body's like. But there is absolutely no reason why anybody should be obese in menopause if you are equipped with the right tools. So there is absolutely no reason why the old excuse, it's just menopause, it's just the way it is, get over it, it's not a good enough excuse for being overweight. So do not let any doctors or anyone else ever tell you that it's just the way it is. It's okay to be unhealthy and feel like crap because you've hit menopause. It's not the case. Please don't let anybody tell you that. That does not give you a definitive answer, and it actually makes you feel useless and helpless. So please don't let anyone tell you that. If you have the right tools, it still comes down to calories in and calories out. It always will come down to calories in, calories out. It will come down to moving your body. It comes down to quality of nutrition. And this is something we'll look at deeply next Sunday night, the quality of nutrition and all of those things together to maintain a healthy weight. It's just that healthy weight may look different for some people, okay, based on how you are moving your bodies and based on your own body composition. Why is your body changing to have more weight? Let's have a look at the why. Why is your body getting more body fat, and why is it harder to shift? The answer is estrogen. Hands up if you've ever heard the word estrogen. And if you can spell estrogen, then go for it in the comments, because there's like 50 million ways to spell estrogen. As we mentioned earlier, your ovaries stop producing estrogen through menopause. Why is estrogen so important? Well, many people actually think that estrogen is only important for reproduction and child rearing, but it's actually not. It's responsible for so many other systems in our body. Estrogen is a hormone, ladies, for those that don't know. Okay, there's quite a few hormones in our bodies. Estrogen is a very, very important one. Men and women have estrogen. Women just have more of it. It is responsible for bone health. So it's really important for bone health. It's important for mental health. Estrogen is really important for mental health. And it's even important for the condition of your heart and cardiovascular disease. So while it would be nice to say that the reduction of estrogen going into menopause shouldn't matter because we're no longer reproducing and making babies, it actually is critically important. There are 3 different types of estrogen. So just very quickly, I'm going to give you a rundown on the 3 different types just so that you get a really good understanding. Estradiol, which is known as E2, is produced in the ovaries and is the prominent type of estrogen for child rearing. So getting pregnant, staying pregnant, fetal development, all that stuff. E3 is estriol, and it's a form of estrogen that occurs during pregnancy and again helps with fetal development. This one doesn't have a huge impact on our bodies outside of pregnancy. The most important form of estrogen is E1, and it is called estrone. Estrone, I don't know how you want to say that. It is the one responsible for the functioning of our bodies outside of reproduction. So your bone health, your mental health, your brain capacity, your heart and your blood, your circulatory system. It is actually also made up of another hormone. So we're talking about estrone here, E1, estrogen 1. It is made up with another hormone called androgens. And this is where you're going to listen, guys. And a special process happens called aromatization. And this is where our fat cells turn androgens into estrogen, E1, to keep our bodies healthy. I wonder if you picked up on that. Sometimes this process happens in our muscles as well, but in very small quantities. I'm going to say it again, so I'm going to see if anybody picks up on the key term here. There's another hormone called androgens, and the process that happens is called aromatization, and it's where our fat cells turn androgens into estrogen for the rest of our body to use. So, where does this process happen? Were you listening? In our fat cells and in our muscles. I wonder if anyone's having a light bulb moment yet. So after menopause, we actually don't need E2 and E3 type estrogens because we're not making babies anymore. We're not trying to grow a baby anymore. We don't need it. But we do need E1. We need it to keep our bones, our brains, and our hearts healthy. You may also hear about how some women have higher rates of osteoporosis after menopause. This is because their estrogen levels have dropped, and bodies are not producing enough estrogen to keep their bones healthy. And sometimes, not all the time, so don't, take this as gospel, but often the people with at a higher risk of osteoporosis because of a lack of estrogen are those that have less body fat. So they're often quite leaner. This is often impacted by our estrogen levels as well. So we need the estrone. Who can remember where estrone is made? Ovaries. Okay, so that estrone is made in our ovaries, but it is also made in our fat cells. And when we go through menopause, what do our ovaries do? They stop producing estrogen. Okay, we've had a chat about this. We know that we stop producing estrogen. So if our ovaries are no longer producing estrogen or the estrone that our bodies need to survive, where is our body going to get it from? Go on, guys, throw it in the comments. If our ovaries are no longer producing the estrogen that we need, what was the other one place that our bodies are going to get that estrogen from? I wonder who's going to be in there, who's going to do it. Let's go have a quick drink. Who's going to comment first? Where else is our body going to pull? Yeah, here we go. You're listening, guys. Well done. It's our fat cells. Okay? So our ovaries aren't going to give it to us anymore. Our fat cells are. Yep. So it is at this point that our body says, well, I can no longer get the estrogen I need from the ovaries, So I need to increase the size of my fat cells to ensure that we have enough estrogen to keep everything working at optimal levels. So our bodies now start to want to increase the size of our fat cells to maintain the same level of estrogen production that was happening when we had functioning ovaries. Hands up if this is new for you guys. Give me a thumbs up or something. Mind blown, yeah? Who would have thought our fat cells and our ovaries had so much in common? So, our bodies will want to make sure that they maintain that same level of estrogen for the rest of our lives. And it is that simple. This is why, ladies, our body holds on to fat so much more after menopause. We gain weight quicker and usually without changing nutrition or exercise, because our body is scrambling to get that estrogen to look after our bones, to keep our bones strong, to keep our brain cells growing, to keep our heart healthy. It's often why that increase in body fat happens so quickly. Our body, as you know, we've talked about this before, your body doesn't give two hoots what you look like. Your body's primary function is to survive. It needs estrogen to survive. When your ovaries aren't producing it, it's going to go to your fat cells. It's going to want more. Okay? So it's only about survival. It really actually makes sense, doesn't it? And it seems so simple that when I learned about it, I was like, is that it? Is that the reason why we all get bigger and like more body fat when we hit menopause? Is that it? It almost seems too simple to be true. I was actually expecting something super complicated, right? Something to do with this hormone has to match this hormone and blah, 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 which is quite often what a lot of the doctors imply. And when the doctors immediately go straight for hormone replacement therapy, it's so confusing. And I really start to wonder how many women are on hormone replacement therapy without actually knowing why and what it's doing to their bodies. But that's a whole nother discussion. I'm not anti this, anti that, not pro that. It's just a very interesting thought for discussion. And it is so intricate because it is a huge issue for most women. To maintain a healthy body composition in menopause, Franca, I see your angry face and I totally get it. I know where you're coming from on that one. I really did expect it to have so many different layers. And look, estrogen affects different women in different ways. For some women, they'll have more side effects than others, but that's the same with everything. Some women may not experience body fat gain or anything like that. But for the most part, if we can understand that fundamental concept of why our bodies want to put more fat on and why it seems that your body is working against you, you will be much better equipped to deal with it and fight against it. So let me know in the comments below, ladies. Is your mind blown, or did someone know this stuff already? And did you expect it to be more complicated than that? I'm really, really curious. So I know what your next question is going to be, because it is my question too. How do you work with that information about estrogen to lose the body fat? How does this change the fact that you cannot lose weight? Now, these are things we're going to go over this week because it is a huge topic. Okay, and yes, it's going to come down to things like nutrition and exercise, blah, blah, blah. Like you guys, I think you all innately know that. I think you do. However, the science behind which foods to eat is phenomenal, because we are now not just talking about burning fat and getting rid of body fat. We are now talking about looking at foods that drive our hormones and will help increase our ability to, make estrogen work to its best level to stop it coming from our body fat. So I'm going to do it week by week. There is a lot to talk about, and if I put it all in one session, we'd be here till midnight. Nobody wants that, right? But I know you all really want you all want the quick answer. I do too. You want me to sit here and tell you which foods you can and can't eat, but it's not actually that simple. So I'm actually a big believer in doing things in chunks. I guess you can take the teacher out of the classroom, but you can't stop the teacher from teaching. So it is chunks that you are going to get, ladies. This week we're going to get chunky, or not chunky, as the reason why we're all here is to lose the chunk, I guess. But anyway, it's all good. This week we will look at the other hormones that play a part in menopause as well. And the big one for that is insulin. So insulin is a huge hormone that marries up with your estrogen levels in your fat cells, particularly in menopause. And we're going to look at how we can manipulate insulin to make estrogen work better for your body. But for now, I really, really want you to wrap your brains around what we've gone through tonight. What we've talked about, I really want you to get a real understanding of it, because when that happens, when you understand the why, and it almost seems too simple, doesn't it? I feel like there should be more to this discussion than simply, well, the ovaries stop producing, so now let's get it from the body fat. But there is actually no bigger, there's not any more complicated. It is so simple. It is that simple. And it's not a simple fix, but it's a simple understanding of why our body is doing what it's doing. When you understand the why behind what you're doing and why it happens, you are more likely to be open to ideas around nutrition and exercise that are going to be required to assist you to deal with it. When you understand why you are doing something, you are more likely to succeed because your buy-in is much bigger and you have a better chance of success because you haven't just got someone saying to you, well, you've hit menopause, so don't eat this, eat that, and do that. If you actually don't know why you shouldn't eat that, or why you should eat that, and why you should be moving in that way, then your buy-in's bigger because you know what the end result is likely to be. But if someone just says to you, do this, 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 and don't do this, you got no understanding of why. Why on earth would you follow something like that? So we're going to delve really deep into the why this week, ladies. And what I can promise you is that I would not tell you to do hours and hours and hours of cardio, because that is not the answer. Give me a woohoo, ladies, because I know most of you don't like cardio. The answer is not hours of cardio. So if you are in menopause and are doing hours and hours of cardio a day and it is still not working, I officially give you permission to stop doing hours and hours of cardio every day to try and shift that weight. Okay? I hereby give you permission, ladies. Woohoo! I knew some of you would love that. Kathy, well done. So, our Self-Care Sunday draw, it closed at 7 p.m. and there was only one person in it this week, guys. You've got to be in this to win this, ladies. Alrighty. So that winner tonight is Karen. I think Karen's still on here. Karen, you've earned yourself another gift voucher to spend on our website. I will send that through to you after, lovely lady. You have to be in it to win it, ladies. Okay. If you have any questions, let me just go through. Shut my laptop down. Lisa, older female doctor. No, yeah, Lisa, I think, do you know what, Lisa? I think sometimes, especially GP doctors, I honestly feel like general practitioner doctors have so many things that they have to keep on top of that delving deep into the research is not on their list of things to do. And I don't mean that negatively. My goodness, I could never be a doctor. I think they're phenomenal. But I think there are little things like this that often get overlooked. And when there are quick fixes like hormone replacement therapy or simply saying to a patient, eat less, move more, I think sometimes they don't often want to look deeper because it's time consuming. But I'm really sorry for you, love, and I'm hoping, Lisa, I really do hope that this week I can give you one or two things that might help you on your journey. If that's what you need, I really hope I can. So reach out and let me know. Long way off menopause, Karen, beautiful, good. So if you have any questions about this, I'm more than happy for you to pop it in the comments below. I'm very happy, as always, if someone wants to privately message me because they don't want to put it in the comments. Like I said at the start, I am not a medical professional, but I do engage myself in lots of research to make sure that I bring my clients and this group the best information that I can around body fat, body composition, fat loss. And menopause is a big one. Menopause is massive. We are a group here of 1,200 women, and I think menopause is pretty prevalent. It's going to hit all of us at some point. So let's get it out on the table and talk about it. Franca GP just gave you estrogen patches. Yeah. I'm going to look into that one a little bit more this week, and we're going to talk about estrogen patches, Franca, to see what role they play in it as well. So I'm glad you put that up there, love. Thank you. I will do my best to answer it, as I said, and if it's going to be, if you've got questions around nutrition and exercise, I will actually ask you not to write that question in because I'm 99% sure we will probably answer your question at some point this week or next week in the Sunday Night Live, because this group is predominantly based around nutrition. So I can promise you we are going to explore nutrition and exercise in terms of menopause really in depth this week, guys. So if that's your question, maybe keep that one to yourself because I don't want to have to answer the same question multiple times. But if anyone's got any other questions, I'd be very happy to answer them. Just a quick check of the comments. Thank you you guys, you are so welcome. And do you know what? Thank you again for joining me on this Sunday night. I've managed to keep it to 31 minutes, which is pretty good for me. Thank you as always for letting me rave on. Now that you know why your fat cells want to get bigger, I hope you can sleep a little better at night, a little bit easier knowing that we're going to tackle this one together, ladies. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining me, and I will talk to you soon.